That's right back, Charlie. Definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian.
You always use that active when defenders have been given like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on. And with an introduction like that, special guest settings, Mo, how you doing, man? I know you're pressed for time, so we're gonna get it straight to it, man. How you been? What are you saying for this season? What's your thoughts on Arsenal versus Bournemouth, man? We have to get straight into it.
I have been smug. I have been unbearable. I have been arrogant as hell.
Like myself.
I've been enjoying it, man. How about you?
I mean, Cloud9 settings, really. I mean, we spoke about it earlier on in the season in August. You know, to say what we're doing now, while the job isn't done yet, I would have thought that you've either taken some sort of drug or you're a fortune teller. And I'm happy with what Mikel Arteta is doing. If we look at, you know, what I would say the plan was to go as far as you could in Europa League in the Champs, we've done that and excelled in terms of everything we want to see on the pitch. If we're looking at this league title, there's probably a little couple things we need to tweak, you know, considering the Bournemouth game when I remove my emotion. Whether the first goal should have been ruled out or not, bro, you know, we shouldn't start a game like that. We let ourselves down via a set piece. But as I said, you know, the mentality, you know, and all of them things are there. It's not always how good you are when you're doing well. It's when you're losing, and we keep snatching wins here and there. And you need to put that on a board if you're going to win a league title, man. What's your thoughts on the game and everything else, man?
Yeah, look, the Bournemouth game, like, you know, you're one of the few people that's like talked about it from an analysis point of view, where you're saying we could have done a few things better, etc. Because like it was such a mad game. It's hard to not get caught up in the emotion. It's hard not just to talk about the incredible end. Like basically, most of the comments about that game only focused on 20 seconds of the game, the first 10 seconds, the last 10 seconds.
Facts.
And in between that, yeah, like you say, there's a lot that we should be doing better. But you know what? It's one of those games where, in a way, like, there's a lot of stuff you can learn from and correct. But as fans, you almost kind of want to focus on the good, because that's for the manager to do. As fans, you want to just enjoy that buzz, that hype, and give the team credit, because the way they responded deserves a lot of credit, you know. They put a nail in the heart of Man City in that game, because trust me, Man City would have been watching. It's nice when you play first. You get your work done nice and early.
And you get to watch everyone else, yeah.
You imagine the Man City players. I reckon on some level, maybe a big level, they think, no, we will win the title because we're Man City. It's just what we do. And Arsenal's
that annoying thing that just won't go away right now.
Yeah, but I reckon that surely, like, if you were to ask them, like, you know, you're never going to be able to have conversations with footballers where they're not guarded. But when you're being completely unguarded, like imagine like Kevin De Bruyne talking to his kids and they're like, Daddy, will we win the league?
He can't give a definitive answer. He's going to have to say, yeah. But in the back of his mind, boy, I don't know what he'd really be thinking. I think
DG, I think deep down he'd be thinking, yeah, of course we're going to win the league. Don't be silly. Of course we're going to win the league. We're Man City, and this is not. I think they must be thinking that, boy. So for me, this would have like been a dagger in the heart, because they would have imagined it being like, oh, here we go. This is what we've been expecting. Like many other people would be as well. This is what we've been expecting. Arsenal to slip up, and then we're going to do that. And he's like, what the hell? But that's what title winners do. What we did against Villa, what we've done now against Bournemouth, it's like, hold on a second, that's what title winners do. But people must be thinking, when's my prophecy going to come through?
Yeah.
That they're going to flop.
That we're going to crumble, yeah.
You know, before the Everton game, people were like, oh, I appreciate that, Clement. Respect, man. Yeah, listen, before the Everton game, after the Everton game, I said to people, if you didn't believe before, you better believe now. And that's because we showed absolute silk. We were brilliant, yeah? And then after the Bournemouth game, I was saying the same thing. If you didn't believe before, you better believe now, because we showed a whole different aspect of what title-winning teams need, that steel, that resilience, that never-say-die attitude. It was incredible. But I have to say, look, if we're going to kind of take away from the emotion and speak about the reality of the game, I'm not ever going to complain about VAR not checking that, because look, they didn't score that goal because they were 1 yard into our half.
We switched off.
Yeah, we just backed off. We backed off. Cross comes in. Gabriel should have cleared it. Went under his foot. Saliba wasn't aware and awake in terms of
Parties let the runner go. Odegaard the same as well. Watching that game again, bro.
So that is completely our fault. I take that on the chin. I'd rather focus on Aaron Ramsdale's save, man, to keep it.
The 19th minute. I know the one you're referring to. That was terrible defending from us. He got us out of jail there, man.
Big time. Because you imagine that goes in, then they're going to score for the goal from the corner. You're not coming back from 3-0. And that chance that they had where he saved it, there was no chance, including every single goal, with a higher XG than that. So it just puts into perspective Aaron Ramsdale's work on that save. And what I loved about it, right, it was odd because I'm North Bank, so I was right behind that.
Yeah, you're right behind it, yeah.
Yeah, and when he came across, like, just the intensity, like the confidence with which he moved across, like, I actually felt like he was going to save it. I was expecting him to save it.
Off his line early.
That's a good chance. So he got us out of jail, man.
He got us out of prison, man.
The North Bank, like, properly let him know how much we appreciated that, because it was an incredible bit of goalkeeping. And then 2-0 down, Thomas Partey switching off. And, yeah, just not what you expect of him. But after that, after he switched off for that goal, he was a different
He was a monster in that game, man.
Yeah, took control, proper performance. And it's the sort of thing where Man United could have done with 11 Thomas Parteys when they went 2-0 down at Anfield, man. Because
they could have done with some Rob Holdings and all that. To be fair with you, they would have put in a better shift than them boys at Anfield, really.
Absolutely. Listen, instead of folding like cardboard, Thomas Partey, he stepped up, man. He just
really
said, you know what? Man. This is not going to be the story of my afternoon, and I'm going to change it. And how well, obviously, you got the first goal. Brilliant work from Emile Smith-Rowe. You don't expect Emile Smith-Rowe to get up for those sorts of headers, put it into such a dangerous area. Did very well for that. And that, again, that's something that went a bit unnoticed.
Need to score goals like that sometimes, man.
Absolutely, yeah. And Thomas Partey stealing in the back post, but all because Emile Smith-Rowe put it into such a good area. You know, he didn't panic. And then Partey's work for the second goal, incredible. Really, really good work.
Forcing the issue on the edge of the area.
Exactly, forced the issue. And the little feint with the shot beforehand, and then got the lucky break. But the ball he played for Nelson took the right back out of the game. Really, really good. So we had a few people that really said in that second half, that's it, we're stepping up. And Ramsdale, he couldn't do anything about the goal, the second goal especially. But yeah, he stepped up for us big time. And that's what you need, man. If you're going to win a title, if you're going to challenge, sort of thing you need from your players.
That's exactly like you said there. I want to ask you, who would you say is the man of the match then? Because, like you said, a lot of people are debating. I think Ramsdale's not been given a couple of clean sheets like against Bournemouth that he deserves. But as you mentioned it, I think Partey was superb, barring his mistake. Obviously, you have to, for me, you kind of have to give it to Reece Nelson. Yeah. I'm probably missing out, but you could even argue Benjamin White, because you saw a different Bukayo Saka when he was next to Benjamin White, as opposed to obviously Tomiyasu initially. So who'd you go man of the match?
Reece Nelson, for sure.
What do you make of Nelson?
Do you know what? He kind of like slapped me in the face with something I already knew after the ball.
Reminding you of his talent.
And not just that, but the fact that he is our most traditional out-and-out winger in this Arsenal squad. Because, yes, we have players that play in that position, but they're not wingers. They're wide forwards. And there's a massive, massive difference.
Massive difference.
A winger is a type of person that will look at his man who's marking him and say, I'm going to give you hell today, you know? And that's what Reece Nelson did. 100% of his dribbles were successful. That's what a winger does. That's what a winger looks at.
That's coming on the live stream.
How they deliver, yeah? And he was just incredible. Assist, goal, took on his man repeatedly, beat his man repeatedly, just absolutely incredible. And how calm was he?
He's the calmest man in the stadium when he bagged, bro.
And you know what I loved as well, DG? You remember this, yeah? A couple of minutes before he scored, he had a shot, right-footed, curled it, catching practice for the keeper. And I actually saw him apologize to his teammates, you know, because it was a bit of a tame shot.
Yeah, it was a silly option. I remember that.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't mind him taking that option. We need to win the game, so we need to get shots off. He did it, but it was just a poor shot. And then from that on his favoured foot, and then a shot where you're having to apologise to teammates to the winner.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely
crazy.
crazy.
How was he that cool? And how, just like he did against Nottingham Forest earlier on this season, yeah, where he played not expecting to even come on and then had a blinder, scored 2 goals in 3 second-half minutes.
Yeah.
How does he come on and look so match sharp after not playing for months?
Weren't even in the last match 2 squads, and Mikel Arteta said it was a footballing decision. Where do you make of it? Because I'm pretty sure you've seen yourself, after a performance like that with his contract running out, there's rumours Arsenal want to give him a new deal. Would you give him a new deal? Do you think this is his probably not last chance saloon, but potentially last chance to stake a claim? As you put earlier, there's competition for places, and although I like Nelson, I want him to do it. With respect to him, he's got to kind of do this every week, because that is what Saka, Martinelli, and Smith Rowe last season were undertaking.
Yeah, but I would definitely give him a new contract because of the thing that I pointed out earlier, that he is our most out-and-out winger in the squad. So on that basis, he has to have a new deal, in my opinion. And I hope that he does go on and push on from this. But when I think about this, right, how many appearances has he had in the league for us season?
This season, probably not even touching double figures. He's been on the bench a lot. He's been injured a lot. He's had some great moments, especially if we win the league title. I think 6 to 8.
Yeah, really. I'm going to find out. Let me have a look at this. Right, well, how is it not even coming up? I'm on the Premier League website. Oh, there we go. Second page. Reece Nelson, 3 appearances. Look at him.
He's even less than I thought. So yeah, when you look at the numbers like that, boy. Yeah. It's not really good. He's never really been in a consistent team, really. The most consistent appearances he's made is when looking at it now, he got his 63 minutes against Forest, where he said 2 goals and assists, was on the bench against Chelsea. Then he got a minute against Wolves, and then he was injured for the foreseeable future. Made the bench against City and Aston Villa a few weeks ago, weren't in the squad for the next 2 weeks. And
he said 85 minutes. He's had 85 minutes in the league. Can you believe that? This kid has had 85 minutes in the league, and he's got 3 goals. So when you try and analyze a squad and knowing that you need certain players that are going to be happy to be on the bench, but then also that still are good enough to have an impact. Reece Nelson's that guy, man. So I feel like, yeah, he's never going to be necessarily starting for us unless he plays like this every week. But I would try and keep him happy and keep him involved, because times like this, it comes into its own, especially next season. We're going to have if we carry on like this, we're going to go deep into competitions. You're going to need players that you can just say
next year as well, man, where you can't take it lightly.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would give Reece Nelson a new contract. And you know what? Like, I really like the guy. I think it speaks about his professionalism that he's ready to come on after not playing and play that well, not just once in a season, twice in a season, Forest now and then Bournemouth. So clearly he's not just sitting there chilling with his feet up. And you would have noticed this as well after the game. How abundantly clear was it? How over the moon his teammates were for him.
Yeah, that's a sign of a man that is loved in his dressing room, and further confirms, the togetherness the boys have. As I said, for me, Reece Nelson looked like the calmest player in the stadium. Yeah. Saliba was acting like he scored. Martinelli's kicking the ball. There's just so much to unpack in that, and it's like you said. It's just, for me, it's just about staying fit now. He seems like one of them lads. Everybody has different levels of self-confidence, but he seems like one of them lads where it's kind of a confidence thing more than anything. But as Arteta touched on, these experiences have made him stronger, and it's literally now is your time, because you mentioned it, going back to the Nottingham Forest game, I thought basically what he did in that game, this was now your chance to stake a claim for your spot. But obviously the man got injured. What did you make of, keeping up the theme with squad players, before I forget, what did you make of Fabio Vieira and Tomiyasu? Because I have to apologize to Fabio Vieira. When I watched the game the first time, weren't really convinced with anything he did. When I watched it a second time, I'd still say a 5 or 6 out of 10. Don't think he grabbed the opportunity with both hands like Tomiyasu. And I think there's a lot more to come. But I think he did all right. And there was a couple of positive actions watching it again from Fabio, to be fair.
Yeah, and even Fabio Vieira, he has had an impact this season. When he's had opportunities, he has contributed. Unfortunately, he didn't grab it by the scruff of the neck like I would have seen, because I remember that it was a Newcastle game. It wasn't Ødegaard's day that day. And I was saying to people after the game, 15 minutes? Give Fabio Vieira at least 15 minutes, because Vieira has got something, in my opinion, that not a lot, or maybe any people in the team has got. He's got that real eye of the needle pass, like, because Ødegaard is a ball player. He needs to dictate that tempo. He needs the ball. Fabio Vieira can actually be less controlling of the ball and of the game, but just pick it up any moment and deliver that perfect pass.
As he showed against Villa off the bench for Martinelli, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. And by his standards, that was easy. But actually, he can do eye of the needle. And also, he's got a good long-range effort as well. So,
as we've seen, yeah.
And against low blocks, that's very, very important. Just like against low blocks, it's very important that you can have a traditional winger that is equally adept going on the outside or the inside. Because clearly, Saka, Martinelli, they've got the preference to cut in. Yeah. And against low blocks, it's easier to defend.
You're just running into traffic, really.
Yeah, and we're going to find that a lot now. You know, people respect Arsenal now. So they're going to defend against us. They're going to treat us in a particular way, especially at home. And we need players that can unlock that. So, yeah, with Fabio Vieira, you and I, DG, we've been around Arsenal long enough to know that much, much better players, legends of our club, have come and struggled for quite a few months. And eventually they come good. Santi Cazorla was not the Santi Cazorla we remember in the first 6 months, for example. Never mind the Vieiras, the Bergkamps, the Henrys. So we have to give him time.
When you finish, man. You're right.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you make of Tomiyasu?
Yeah, Tomiyasu, it's a shame. He's a very good defender. He's a very, very good, solid defender. But it just wasn't his game. It is hard to come into the team, even though Reece Nelson makes it look easy.
Yeah, he almost makes the point redundant.
Yeah, and just sort of hit the ground running every single time. But Tomiyasu will come good. He's a very accomplished defender. And it's a weird one because if we were to go, like, let's say, away at Liverpool, where some people get battered 7-0, I might say I'd rather Tomiyasu go up against Salah, for example.
Yeah, like he did at the Emirates, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I kind of feel like when he's on it, he's a very, very tough defender to beat. So I've got no concerns with Tomiyasu. My major concern is Kieran Tierney. And I'll ask you.
Save the Tierney. Save it. We're getting there. Save it. I wanted to ask you as well, just by looking at Tomiyasu, I agree with everything you said. I think people need to come and probably understand he's never really going to be the most glamorous, but when it's a 1v1 job, it's a day in the trenches. That's the man. Obviously, he's very versatile. He can play centre half as well. So I wouldn't downlook his versatility. I just feel maybe potentially, do you feel with what we've got with Zinchenko on the left-hand side, the next evolution on this side could be, I know Benjamin's doing his thing, but finding a second choice right back that's more closely to Zinchenko, so somewhat we can mimic what we do on the left, on the right. Do you think Tomiyasu would kind of suffer via that?
Yeah, I don't think Tomiyasu's the guy for that. And I'm not sure Ben White is either, to be honest with you. So you could be right that we might look for that, but we won't play that with both fullbacks. That's only ever for one. Because when they tuck inside, yeah, you get the extra midfielder, you get the extra ball player, but you do leave space in that channel. And I have seen teams try to start to exploit that a little bit. Let's remember
that's what they do against us. Knock it into the channels, first and second balls, and get further up the pitch.
Yeah, but especially that right channel. Let's not forget Aston Villa. Remember that incredible Ramsdale save from Leon Bailey? Yeah, down that right-hand side. They did that a few times. It's not a surprise that when we get countered, it's down the right-hand side because, you know, that's where our left, Zinchenko's tucked in to provide that extra option. So, you know, back in the day, people, the sage advice used to be don't let both fullbacks cross the halfway line. Yeah. You don't want both attacking. Obviously, Liverpool throw caution to the wind. They do what the hell they want. But that typically used to be the thing, one or the other. And that's because, you know, you get pillared if you do that. So it's almost the same thing in this new modern day tactical setup where instead of that left back being like racing forward, what he's doing is influencing the game in a different way and actually freeing up a midfielder, in our case, often Granit Xhaka, to go further forward and sometimes underlap rather than the traditional left back overlapping the winger or the wide forward, in our case, you know, Martinelli or whatever. So if you do that with both, again, those channels are both free. Your central defenders are going to be absolutely exposed. So if we do get a right back to do that job, like you're saying, then actually that might breathe a bit of life into Tierney's Arsenal career because you won't necessarily be asking Zinchenko to do that very tactical job if a right back is doing it. But I wouldn't be surprised if we just put all of our eggs in one basket there with Zinchenko to do that job because he's so good, so reliable, and it's hard to find that caliber player. And I've said about Zinchenko this season that he's almost like the manager on the pitch. The way
him, Jorginho and Xhaka, as well as even I'd extend that to Odegaard. They're almost like extensions of the coaching stuff, further reflecting what Arteta wants, man. I think you're right. Bang on the money with that one.
Yeah, so that's it, But we'll see. There's a movement on the fullbacks, I think, to if not the right hand side, certainly the left hand side, and you'll talk about that in your own time then with Tierney.
Nah, we're gonna get into it, man. I just wanted to get Tobiasu out of the way. Kieran Tierney, man, where are you at with this? Because I think Zinchenko previous months ago probably would have said Gabriel Jesus is our signing of the summer. It's clearly probably Zinchenko at this moment. Where do you stand with Tierney? Because I think you need a traditional fullback. I feel considering Tierney signed a new deal under Mikel Arteta, he's a valued member. I don't think he's kicking up a fuss and down in tools, but he will want to leave. I think him being 25 years of age, we need to get top money. I think he's been done a bit unlucky that the evolution of the squad, Zinchenko's been available. He's taking him to the next level. And to a degree, I think if you're going to play for Arsenal on a regular basis, you're going to have to become something you're not. You're not 25 years of age. You've got here playing for Scotland, playing for Arsenal, just being a traditional fullback. Zinchenko's the centre mid that's found himself at left back. So I kind of think he's kind of doomed in that, even though you've probably seen yourself when Tierney does come onto the pitch, he does try his best to do that inverted role, but it's not just him. My issue would be is that we're going to be in the Champions League. Tierney starts at a lot of clubs. He carries resale value. If he goes to Newcastle, Villa or Leicester, teams he's been linked with, especially Newcastle, they're not going to cut us any favours. We're strengthening rivals, essentially, bro. So where you
exactly.
Tierney, bro?
I don't want to sell him to Newcastle.
I
don't. And actually, I love Kieran Tierney. Before Odegaard took this captaincy and made it his own, I wanted Tierney to be captain.
That was a shout of many of us.
And let's not forget, at one point, he was our sole attacking threat. Remember when things weren't going well for Arsenal? Yeah. It was Tierney and Inshallah. That was a tactic.
So, exactly that.
Yeah, man.
What a throwback, man.
Exactly. We forget those days.
You've come a long way, man. Jeez.
We really do. But anyway, I really like Kieran Tierney. I'd love to keep him at the club, but I, like you, expect him to want to go. We have to make good money on him because he's a talented player. But unfortunately, I don't. People might not like what I'm going to say here, but Arsenal are almost a little bit boring. Like Man City are a little bit boring. Yeah. Incredible football, but I feel like if you get like a neutral or if you get a layman, just the average person watching a football game, like people doing the World Cup, if they watch Arsenal, Man City, you're not on the edge of your seat. If you watch Liverpool, you're on the edge of your seat. If you watch PSG, you're on the edge of your seat.
I get
if anyone's seen PSG play, Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, they don't even bother coming back.
Harlem Globetrotters over there, really.
Exactly, yeah. They leave themselves open at the back. And when they're attacking, Messi's producing magic, Neymar's producing magic, Mbappe, crazy talent, loads of pace. It's like, wow, this is fun. Liverpool, edge of your seat, the way they play. And Arsenal and Man City are so tactical in the way they set up.
That's just a cerebral approach from their managers.
Yeah, and it requires like a trained eye to appreciate it and not find it boring, right? Someone that knows what football's about, why certain things are happening. You have to find appreciation in how players vacate their positions to overload and create these overloads.
The spaces they hold as well. You're right on that. You need to definitely be able to have a trained eye to see that. You're right.
Exactly that. And Tierney's not that guy. Unfortunately, Tierney's a guy that will do much better doing a Hakimi role at PSG, for example, or a Robertson role at Liverpool. So, unfortunately for him, when he signed for Arsenal, we weren't this team, but now we are that team, and I don't think that's where his strong points lie.
You're right.
But equally, when I look at Newcastle, is Eddie Howe, with such a focus of defensive solidity, going to be saying to him, that's it, go left back and do what Trippier does for us? I don't think so. So even though I've heard the Newcastle rumours, I'm not 100% sure about that. But who knows?
That's the thing, man. And it's just, for me, it's like whatever money you get from Newcastle, whoever he goes, you're going to have to reinvest that. Like, forgive me, Arsenal fans, but I don't think Tavares is the answer. He's doing great over there at Marseille. Again, a lot of fantastic attacking highlights, not really seeing the same sort of energy around defending. You need to be able to defend, and you definitely need to be less wasteful in the final third. Yeah, he can be a loose cannon, and some games that can help you, as he showed, but I don't think he's the option. So you're going to have to go and spend that anyways, really. And it's just the fact for me, don't do anybody any favors, because for Newcastle, provided he can stay fit, that's a great signing for them. He reflects what they're trying to do. He's got a wealth of experience. He's been at Arsenal and Celtic. Again, he's 25 years of age, so there's longevity there. So it just doesn't make sense with me. I